Yeah, hello. So here we are. It's the fantasy dungeon box. So obviously you're here because you want to know how to put this together. That's exactly what I'm going to do now. I'm going to show you how to put this whole thing together. I'm going to talk you through the contents of the box so you get an idea, make sure everything's there. But one thing I must say here is, as I'll say all of my videos, is to make sure the first thing you do is you watch the essential quick start guide before you come in and try and attempt to build the terrain. It'll give you the basics of how all of our terrain works, the clips and how it all slots together, etc. So that when you're watching this, you've already got that kind of rudimentary understanding of the basics of everything. I will then stress on top how important that video is specifically for this set, because this is by far the most complex terrain set that we've done. It's what makes it look so incredibly spectacular when it's built. It's got some very unique kind of ways that it goes together. So please do make sure that you watch that essential quick start guide. Yeah, otherwise I think we're ready to go. So I'm going to open this quickly now. Okay, so that's the box there. Let's pop the lid off. It's a lift off lid. And then inside, the first thing you're going to notice is you've got this lovely game mat. It's a nice neoprene game mat. Really nice textures on there. And then if you get that out first and put it to one side, that will allow the creases and things to drop out, as it were. You can roll it up or however you want to do that. I'm just going to put that down here for a moment. Then you're going to find this brown envelope, and inside this brown envelope is if I can get into it, our clips. Okay. We put it in a brown envelope so the clips don't press onto the cardboard and create any indentations. All the builds that we're going to do, and certainly the build today, is all going to be with just the clips that are included in the bag. You can, of course, get additional clips on our website if you want to go really crazy and just have this like super mega flexibility with building your dungeons. This is a there isn't a set way that you build this, so you can just have fun with it like Lego, as it were. Okay, cool. So what we've then got inside here is all of the terrain sheets, which is going to obviously be the bulk of your dungeon. So I'm going to tip those out like so. Okay, and then I'll just very basically talk you through the sheets. First of all, you've got some wall sheets on top. There should be 4 of those, I believe. 4 of those particular, all exactly the same sheet. Okay. And put those to one side. Then you should have 2 of the dungeon archways, which are these 2 sheets here with these big arches on it and the braziers, etc. Let's put that over there. You'll have just 1 of the dungeon entrance because it's got some unique parts that you only need 1 in it. There's like a throne and parts of like a ruined tower on here. You'll see that in a second on another sheet. Then you've got 1 sheet of walkways. This is going to make all those nice kind of upper areas so your characters can have access to, the multi-level aspect of this particular dungeon. Then you've got the ruined tower. Okay, so you've got 2 sheets of ruined tower. It's got some small things fitted on here, like this little font and stuff as well. And it's got some ruined walls on here as well. When you make this build, you'll discover that it all looks pretty basic until you start putting all the ruined bits on top, and it takes the squareness of it and really brings it to life. So there's a few of those ruined walls on there. Then you've got the dungeon accessories. There's 2 of these, and it's kind of a mixed sheet really. It's got some walls on here, some unique tool walls that make like this large pillar that I'll show you later on. And it's got some another brazier on here, and like a wall brazier, sconce, whatever, and some various bits and pieces on there. There's 2 of those. You've then got the dungeon accessories sheet. There's just 1 of these because everything on here is a unique item. Okay, we've got like a well, there's only 1 of those, and so on and so forth. And the top of the large pillar thing that I was talking about. Then you've got your dungeon scaffolding. There are 2 of these sheets. And this is basically it's all the wooden kind of stuff. So and we'll be placing this to help you get some large steps on here to help you get access to the other upper levels. But also it kind of creates this look of sort of like scaffolding in the dungeon where people have been propping up the old stonework and stuff. So 2 of those in the set. Then we get the dungeon rope bridge. There is just 1 of these in the set. It's the bridge is absolutely amazing. It's one of my favourite parts, and it makes a full bridge plus a little kind of ruined bridge part there as well. And last but not least, you've got these 2 sheets here, which is your dungeon furniture. And this, although there are some furniture items spread across the other sheets, this is then the bulk of all of what we call the scatter. The scatter is the stuff that once your building is, or your dungeon, sorry, is completely built up, you're going to then be placing all of this kind of scatter, the tombs and the chests and the cog levers and the weapon racks and the fireplace and all this kind of stuff, bookcases. And when you put that in, it really brings your dungeon to life. Okay, so that's everything. You should have a big pile of cardboard and some clips, and then this lovely game mat. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pop out all of the parts of this. I'm going to speed the video out so you're not watching me pop it all out, but I will then unspeed it. At various points, if I want to point something out particularly, specifically because I want to have certain piles of things so that you can then, assemble this thing together and assemble that thing together. So I'm going to start doing that now. So first of all, I'm going to pop out all of these walls. There's 4 of these sheets. Okay, so that's all done. I just wanted to point out a couple of little pieces here. Remember that when you are popping out these doors, you've got a little half cut just here so that the door can be opened and closed like so. And you'll notice there's some little pieces missing here, which is like the battle damage or the damage of the door, as it were. So remember to pop those bits out as well. You'll also note that on these little 3/4 walls, there's some little stone bits to push out here so that these walls look a bit more damaged. And this is where I want to bring your attention to the fact that you're going to have these little bits of stones left over. If you're completely nuts like me, you want to hold on to those, leave them to one side, and put them in a little baggie or something, because you can really add a little bit of extra text to your dungeon once it's all set up by the various bits and pieces that you've got left over from this sheet. You can add this little scattery bits into your dungeon, and it'll just add a little bit of spice there. And then finally, you have got some bits that are ridiculously too small here, these bits which are clearly just throwaway, and so that's exactly what we're going to do. You can ignore those can go in the bin. We'll keep everything else. So I've put everything together. I've got my normal walls, I've got my walls with doors in it, I've got my 3/4 walls, I've also got some 3/4 walls here that have got like an archway into them. I put those together. I've then got some ruined wall pieces here, and these are like ruined wall tops. You'll find some more of these as we go through the sheets. These are going to kind of go on the top of your walls, and there's various different shape ones to really kind of bring everything to life. We've got these little kind of struts here, which are going to be very, very useful when you build the ruined tower, and just to add again a little bit more dimension to your dungeon, a little bit more 3D-ness. And then you've got all the little sconces which are going to go around your dungeon and kind of bring a really nice bit of colour. So for here, where we've got some lighting effect on the wall, you put one of those on there, and then you get this nice kind of effect, as it were. And then we've got lots of little weapons here which don't particularly do anything other than you can scatter these around your dungeon. When you've got things like a weapon rack or something like that, you can put them into that weapon rack, and and if you've got any left over, you can, a little bit of blue tack on a wall or something, you can have them hanging on a wall. It's great. So so that's those first 4 sheets. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to move over to the next 2 sheets, which is the dungeon archways, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing, putting everything into piles. And as I go, I'll show you how these little bits here are actually assembled. There's some bits here that need to be assembled, like the pillar. So I'm going to crack on and do that. Okay, that's those all popped out. There are these large kind of archways. Then we have some little doors. Don't forget that we're going to make sure that we pop open the doors there on their little half cuts so they can open and close. We've got some little quarter walls. These are useful for bridging gaps and creating particular shapes. Then the last couple of bits on the sheet need to be assembled. So first of all, I'm just going to show you these. These are kind of little archways that are going to have like a brazier hanging from here. Be super careful when you're popping them out. These little bits here are really fragile. Obviously I do this all the time, so I managed to do it with my fingers, but you might want to have a little pair of these handy just to clip the little bit where it's getting a bit tricky, or a little scalpel or something, so that you don't tear those. So what we're going to do, we're going to assemble these. And so what we've got here, we've got like a little first part, and we're going to take this second part, which is this little flame bit, and we're going to, with the shortest side up, we're going to pop that in this way, and we're going to just push that down, and that will push down into this slot here to create a kind of a 3D flame, as it were. If it's a bit of a tight fit, you can look at it and go, you know what, I need to cut a little piece out. So you can get your little side cutters, pop that in there, and just go snip and remove a tiny bit of card. Then you can take your little sconce bit, and you can put that in there, and then that will now sit very nicely in there. You've also got this piece here, which is going to slide into here, and you can push that in, being careful to push here and not at the top where you've got this thin bit, and run that in. And what you end up with then is this little kind of 3D flame kind of piece. Let's just straighten that out a little bit. There we go. And finally, what's going to happen is this is going to then push up into the top of here, like so, all the way to the top, and it creates this 3D kind of brazier, which is an archway, which can then be clipped onto walls you'll see later on, and it'll make this really nice kind of cool effect. Add a lot of colour as well. So I'm just going to assemble these other ones very quickly. Okay, that's that done. Now we're going to assemble these pillars here, which you'll see there's 2 different types. There's one type with the slots facing downwards, this wide bit. There's one with the slots facing upwards in this wide bit, and you've got these little toppers here. So all you're going to be doing is you're going to be taking the 2 different parts, and you're going to be sliding those together like so. Like this. Oops. Here and here. Like so. And so you'll notice that there's a little slot on one of these, of the slots facing down. There's a little slot on one of those, so you want one of those slot pieces on each of your pillars. Don't put them both on the same one. And the idea is that you can pop a little sconce in there, and you can do this, when it's after it's assembled or before. whenever you like. Some people like to add some glue kind of down the sides of here, or glue these bits into place first. If you like to, that's no problem. Then you've got these little bits here. We always talk about a stamp side and a reverse side of card. The stamp side, where the blade goes in, creates a little tiny like rounded curve. Okay, so in this case we're going to flip it so that the reverse side is up. The curves come in this way, and we'll put that on top and we'll center it and we'll glue it. And then with this one we want the stamp side facing up with this nice curve, and we're going to pop that on there and we're going to glue that. So I'm going to do that now. So I've just got some completely ordinary kind of super glue here, and I'm going to brush some of that on. Then very carefully I'm just going to apply this to the absolute kind of edge of here, so it doesn't go too much into the middle. And there you go, I'm dead happy with that. And like I say, you can pop the little torch in there when you're doing the build if you want, you know, that particular detail in that area. Okay, cool. So I'm just going to do the other one really quickly. And there's the other one. Okay, so we've got both of those. I just trimmed the little slot here for the sconce. It was a bit thin. I just trimmed it a bit bigger so that this can just drop in there nice and easily without it being too tough to put in there. Okay, but there's your two pillars. Okay, cool. So put that off to one side, and then we shall crack on with the next sheet, which is the dungeon entrance. So I'm gonna just pop all the bits out. Okay, so that's those popped out. Now with this, what you'll find is you've got basically a main entrance. These three pieces here. You've got like a staircase, a stone staircase part that is going to form part of the ruined tower. That's there. You've got this little throne here, and again from here, there's a few bits that you pop out as stones. Now it looks like there's a lot more parts on here to pop out as stones. Don't try and force those out. They're supposed to stay in. So they're cut all the way around except for on one particular edge. And the idea is that they bend down so that they create a little bit more of a 3D effect once this is assembled. We'll tackle that first. But hold on to the ones that do actually pop out very easily, and add them to your little pile of stones that we're building up so that we can have this nice scatter to pop throughout your dungeon. Okay, cool. So let's first of all move these to one side, and we're just going to handle this entrance. So you've got these long kind of pieces here. These need to be bent through like so. Whoops, I missed a little stone that is supposed to come out. I always miss something. And then these ones should be... And then the other bits I'm going to actually just pop down or pop in, fold in as it were. This is one that's supposed to come out. Pop that over there. Is there anything else that folds down on this one? I believe maybe this one. This one also folds down. So it looks like I've got, oh, and there's one over here. So it looks like I've got three bits that fold down on here. And then I'm going to turn that in. And what we'll end up with is this. Now you'll see here that unlike ordinary walls, you've got a lot more slots at the top here. This middle slot is where you put a clip in to clip things to as normal. But these clips these slots, are in order to put this pillar on. And you'll notice on the side of this pillar, on one side of each pillar, you've got these little, almost like semicircular pieces here. Those need to go on the outside. Okay, so the doors are going to open inwards, so this is the front, and these need to be facing, the semicircles need to be facing outwards, like this. So I'll put this one on first, just slot that in the top there, and then it's got these little tabs at the bottom that you also slot the top in first, little tabs at the bottom, which are just going to push through the wall like so. And the reason that we've got these little semicircles here is so that when you push the clips in to hold the walls together, the clips have got a little area to push into, so they don't push against this, and if the semicircles weren't there, the wall wouldn't clip in properly. So I'm going to do totally the same with this one here as well. So I've got one piece that bends down there. I've got another piece that bends down there by the look of it. Yep. One here, I believe. Or is that one in the middle? Let's have a look. Or does that just come out completely? No, that bends down. So it looks like there's 4 bits on this piece here. I'm then going to bend this in like so. And again, with these bits on the outside, well, I've got no choice now because I've only got one place left to put this. You get the first one right, the second one's going to be fine. They're either both right or they're both wrong. Okay, and then you've got this little, well, not so little, this large entrance wall here, as it were. That's that, nice and simple. That's going to create a nice centerpiece to your dungeon. I'll pop that to one side. Okay, so you'll see that there's 3 steps, although each one of them are different. They're kind of thinner. Then you've got this larger step here. Large step is going to go at the top of our build, for want of a better word. And what we're going to do is we're going to create this like this, and we're just going to slot the steps into it. We're not going to start at the bottom. You'll see that one of the slots is open-ended. We want to put that one in last. Looking at the slots, these slots are quite larger than these ones, are a little bit tighter. So I'm going to start with these slots first because I've got a lot more room to maneuver, you'll see in a moment. And so supporting this piece here, I'm going to slot these into here. So that's the first one, using that big step at the top. Then I'm going to come in for the next one. And if the slots are a little bit tight, you can run a scalpel down into those to make sure that they're a little bit looser. I'm used to doing this, so I'm just going to go straight for it. That one goes in there if I can get the right angle. There we go. So I've got those 3 into there. Then with this side here, happens to have the larger slots on it. Sometimes it can be the other way around. Making sure that I've got this open-ended slot facing or in the same direction as this open-ended slot. Then I can kind of just hook these into here. And I can do it one, if they're all a bit tighter, you can do it one at a time, or you can open these up with the scalpel. And then what I'm left with is this, and then finally I can hit that bottom step by putting that in there. And I get this little staircase here. This wall seems a bit abrupt, you know, just like bump, bump, bump. But what's going to happen is there's going to be like an end piece that we put on here, which is a little ruined piece. And then this is going to butt up against another wall. This is going to clip into a walkway, and it's going to look cool. Last but not least then, we're going to pop this little disc in here, like so. And we're going to add this little flame on top. There we go. Awesome. And that then creates this kind of little 3D flame. So that's that piece, and that's that piece. What we need to do now is just put this piece together. And this is a little throne. It's a very simple design based on you know, a similar sort of chair design we've done before. You'll notice that this is the back wall. Oh, there we go. There's always a bit you forget to pop out. This little piece here looks like a stone, so I'm going to add it to my stone pile. You'll notice that we've got the back of the chair here. So what we're going to do is we've got a high side and a ruined side, and I've got 2 backs of a chair, a kind of a low side and a high side. I'm going to put the high side with the high side, like so. And then I'm going to put the low side on here so that it's broken at the right angle, as it were. Then I'm going to grab this little seat piece and I'm going to slot it into these 2 slots here, and then this tab is going to poke out the back here. So I'm going to do that, like so, and that creates this rather cool looking piece here. You notice it's a little bit wobbly here, and that's because this piece here comes down a little bit lower, and it's designed to sit on here, so now it doesn't wobble. And we'll pull that in until it matches that, so that it looks like this is resting on the ground. And obviously what you're going to do here is just add a little bit of glue to that. So I'll do that very quickly. I'm risking my nice table here, but I think I got this. And then we're done. Now, again, you might want to glue this whole thing together if you want. If you like this super sturdy, you know, effect, then you can totally do that. Okay, so that's that, and that. So that was the that sheet done. What we're going to do is we're going to move on to our next sheet, which is this here, the dungeon walkways. No assembly on this one, really simple. So I'm just going to pop out all the parts. Okay, nice and simple. That's all those parts. I always keep those together because these are all my walkways to enable me to add platforms on higher levels. You've got some ladders here as well. Be super careful popping these out, just in case you've got some bits that are harder to push out. These were great, they just fell out. And again, I've got some bits I'm going to throw away here, but I've also got some cool bits here that really do look like little tiny bits of kindling or whatever. So I'm probably going to keep those in my little bits of wood, my little stones, sorry. And there's an extra little sconce on this sheet as well. Very simple sheet. So I'll pop that to one side. Next then, we've got the ruined tower sheets. Various bits and bobs in here. I'm going to pop this out, and then I will show you, you know, exactly what you're getting on the sheet. Okay, so that's all those popped off. Let's have a look. Again, we've got some parts that I'm not going to use because they've got bits of white on them, but I've also got some parts here that are popped out from the stone parts, which are I'm going to add to my little collection of, you know, rubble, as it were. I'm going to point out some more walkways, but I'm not going to keep them with my other walkways. These are very unique, designed specifically for the pop that bit off. Designed specifically for the ruined tower, as are these angled pieces here, and also these little struts, which have got this little cut out at the bottom. These are also unique to the ruined tower. The ruined tower is going to be part of this here. I've then got these two little very perfectly square, well, I guess they're not perfectly square, they're cut all the way around, but they're jaggedy, but they're square. These are actually part of my walkways, so I'm now going to keep those over here with these walkway pieces. I've got four new in total, two different designs of ruined wall, so I'm going to pop those with my other ruined wall pieces here. I've got some much shorter ruined wall pieces, which I'm going to keep here. I've also got some new wall toppers, two different types of design. And so I'm going to take those and put them with my other wall toppers and keep those together now, which is cool. So I'm building up these piles of very specific items like the ruined walls. And I'm going to put those over here. I've then got two ordinary kind of walls, pretty basic really. They're just half walls, half the size. I'm going to put those over with my walls, keeping all my walls together. I've got these very unique things. These actually will become part of your walkways. So you'll be able to clip them over here like that, and they'll create this nice kind of, almost like an edge to your that people can kind of, your characters can hide behind and kind of take a shot from, etc. Okay, or just throw things from people down below, I don't know. So we've got those. So I'm going to keep these with my walkways. This is going to be for my tower, which, you know, I'm going to put with my stairs for building that later on. And then last but not least, we've got these two little fonts here. Okay, so again, you've sort of got this this little piece here that with a greenery, piece without greenery. You can slot those together like that. And here's the other one. And just like our pillars, we've got some discs which we can glue together to make our little kind of font. And then this little counter, we'll be able to place that in the top. We won't glue this piece in, but we will glue these pieces here. So don't need to glue those particularly unless they're loose. Mine are not. And so what we're going to do, we're going to have stamp side facing down, so reverse side up. Then we're going to take, again, stamp side facing down, reverse side up. And you'll see there's a little bit of greenery on here. So I'm going to line that up with the greenery running down one side, like so. And then finally, again, we're going to have a little bit of greenery that we want to line up here. If I can hold on to this thing. It kind of looks like a ring. A little bit of greenery here. This time we're going to want the stamp side facing up so that we've got this nice rounded top. And we'll pop that on there. And what that does, it creates this nice little kind of and I'll glue this in a second. It's going to create this nice little font, which, you know, depending on in game what you're doing, you can then drop this counter in here to say whether the font's got water or whether it hasn't got water. You know, maybe your wizard will use it once and then you discard the counter to say that it's been used. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly run some glue around that to hold those together. Sometimes when you're gluing, it's good to face these down like this so that you can put it on top to make sure that you've got that, you know, reasonably lined up underneath. And there you go. That's those two little fonts done. I will not put those little counters in there until the glue is completely dried, because sometimes it just seeps out just a little bit, and that'll tack in there, and then that'll capillary reaction. I'll just pull it in, it'll just be stuck there. So yeah, that's really cool. I've got those two things. I'll pop those to one side. Okay, so the next sheet. We've got the next ones we're doing here are the dungeon accessories, and this is, if you remember, this has got the 2 sheets in it. So I'm going to pop out the parts now. Okay, so I've got all the parts pushed out of the sheets here, and as you can see, I've got a couple of doors here. Watch out for the small part here, the little broken bit on purpose, that needs to be popped out of there, and make sure that you carefully open these for the first time, and then they'll open and close fine. Then we've got a couple of extra walls. We've got these kind of unique walls, which are only half width but double the height, with this slot in. These are great for making volume on your walls. I'll explain later, but also they create this kind of unique pillar. Then I've got these little struts here, which are going to be useful for adding decoration and atmosphere to your set. I've got, similar to the struts, I've got these long vines which will kind of occupy larger areas, like higher double-walled areas and stuff, which is really nice. It creates this nice kind of sweeping vine work. And then I've got some more atmospheric struts. These are really cool. They kind of come in a pair like this so that you can put them together, which is exactly one door width, which is awesome, a wall width, sorry. But they can also be used separately, like these struts over here. And I've just noticed there's another tiny little piece of boop in there. Okay, and then finally I've got two things to assemble. I've got these little sconce things, and I've got this like font or brazier, sort of freestanding one. I've got a load of rubbish that I'm going to get rid of, and I've got more little tiny stones to add to my little baggie of stones. Okay, so my walls are going to go over with my walls. I'm going to place these and my doors with my doors. These will go with my walls. These will all go with my strut type items. So these, and then what I'll do is I'll show you how to assemble these items here. This is pretty simple. I think I've got one of the bits over here. Yep, this is really pretty simple. You've just got this part and this part which will push together like so. There's an up and down to these, so underneath you've got no on light texture there, and then you've got this little tiny piece here that makes the flame a bit more 3D from whichever angle you're looking at. So there's two of those, and this goes over the top, and again you can glue those in place if you feel like you need to. These ones don't need it. Then we've got this little kind of freestanding brazier. This is just like the font basically. So this will assemble in exactly the same way, almost exactly the same way, like so. And then we have, then what we're going to do with this, we've got a small disc which we'll place on here first of all. Then we will place the larger disc on top. And these are all reverse side up. So you've got this nice curve here coming up towards the sky. And then on this piece here, we're going to have the stamp side up, so the reverse side down, so the curve is like that. And that will give this item a nice little curved shape. And we'll do the same on this one here. And then basically, we're just going to glue those together. And then the little flame, these cross over like that. And oops, like this. And then once this is glued together, they can be put in there. You can glue them on if you want. I like to leave them off so that I can, you know, have the fire on or off or being used, or maybe in game you need to get someone there and light these, in which case you can mark them as being lit, as it were. Okay, so I'm going to very quickly just glue those together. To make sure these are centered correctly, I'm laying them down this way so that I can make sure that that's nicely centered. Remembering to put these face down, I'm doing the same thing again, so the stamp side is up now. Okay, so they're both now done. And again, you know, these bits can just go in here nicely. I won't leave them in there just in case there's a bit of glue. And I'm gluing all this stuff together really super quickly. Remember, you can take much more time if you want. You don't have to use the fast drying super glue. You could use any kind of glue that's going to be great for cardboard. And just take more time and get everything like super, you know, pristine if that's your jam. Let's pop that over here. So lastly, I've then got these stairs. Now there are slightly too many steps for this because the way we put it on the sheet and how we had to stamp things twice, it was either one few or one too many. Obviously one few doesn't work, so you'll have a spare top step. So what we're going to do is similar to the other steps, we're going to just slot these in like so. You can do all the way up and then kind of guide these ones in, or if you wanted to, you could just start with like the bottom step like that if you wanted to, and then maybe, I don't know, put a step in the top like so to get the kind of structure, and then work your way along like this. And again, let's get some color variation. I'm just ramming that stuff in there. Okay, so we can see we've got a spare step here, and we've got 2 of the top which come on at the other side as opposed to this side. Lovely. And this makes this nice little set of steps, and you've got a couple of spare bits of these. If you lose one or a step comes off, you've got some spares, or you could basically use these. You could cut these up with a knife and make more kind of little bits of wood to scatter around into little planks. Whatever you like, I'd keep those separate, and that's your set of steps. So what have we got left? We have got left the we've got dungeon accessories here, and there's some items that we'll be putting some glue in on those. So I'm gonna leave that to one side. At the bottom here, we've got all of our dungeon accessories, and I'm going to put that with that. So this kind of makes mostly the all the accessories and the furniture, which really is going to leave us with these 2 here. I'll put the bridge to one side, and we've got 2 of the dungeon scaffolding. So again, I'm going to pop off all the parts of these sheets. Okay, so that's those all popped out. As usual, I've got a big pile, a rather large pile of stuff that I'm not going to need. I've got a kind of pile of kindling, woodeny kind of bits. That's going in my little baggie. If you're bonkers like me, you're going to keep all of that stuff. Then I've got various of these upright straight pieces. We're going to just keep those together. And we're going to, we're going to keep those together, and we're going to move those to one side, including the little platforms that come with them. And what that leaves us with for assembly are large stairs and small stairs. Now, these are going to assemble similarly to the stairs that we just covered a second ago. So you're going to push things in. But here, because of these railings here and how this works, we've got some stairs that come in at the front, and we've got some stairs that come in at the back. Also, we tried to get as much variety in the steps as we can, so we've got some various different shapes. So what I try to do when I assemble these is I try to just like not have, 2 of exactly the same step sort of run, or 2 or 3 of the same step running next to each other. So I'll try and add some variety to the different types of steps. We'll start with the big ones. All I'm going to do is start working my way from the bottom. So I'll put one in the bottom like that. There you go. And then I'll do the same over here. When pushing these steps in, make sure that you're not holding onto the top rails and pushing it in, because you can bend these really intricate parts here. Always be holding the card at the most sturdy part. Then I'm going to come in at the top, and I'm going to put one at the top backwards. Like so. And I will work my way across, doing these front ones and then the back ones, just slotting them in place. So I'm going to do that now. And that's it. Lovely. All completely done. And you give it a little, when you put it, it's a bit wobbly, give it a little bit of a sort of a push down, and you can kind of twist it a little bit like this, and then it comes out nice and sturdy. That's really nice. In fact, that's really, really strong. So that's cool. I'm going to do exactly the same with this, just less steps. So off we go. Okay, and here's your next set of steps then. That's nice. So we've got these 2 lovely sets of steps, plus all the other bits that we got on those sheets. These are great, no glue required. We'll put those over there. Okay, so then we have the rope bridge. This is awesome, certainly one of my favourite parts. and yeah, it's also very complex. So take extra care popping this off the sheet. And talking of which, let's get started. Okay, so there we go. This is all done. I've got a pile of rubbish. I can go in the bin. And what I'm going to do here, I'm going to call out the parts here that are going to not be the main bridge, so I can separate into two bridges. So first of all, the two little ropey pieces here with all the side scaffolding, you've got the large ones and the small ones. That's a small bridge. Big bridge, small bridge, this is the broken bit. Then you've got these three planks here. One of the planks has got this extra piece of wood coming across where it's got a bit broken, small bridge. We've got three then of these. They're all identical. You'll need one for the small, two for the large. And then these two planks are obviously for the large. Then you've got some little bits of wood kindling, as it were. These are just bits of broken plank. So when you've set this up, you can put these at, like underneath on the level down below to show the bits of bridge that are falling, that kind of thing. I'm going to put those in with all my little bag of loveliness. Okay, so I'm going to tackle the big bridge first, and then the small bridge will be pretty much self-explanatory, but I'll go through it as well anyway. So you've got two sides to the bridge. Again, what I like to do to make sure it's really aesthetically perfect is to make sure that we got the stamp sides facing out, so the slightly curved bits facing out this way. And we're going to assemble this kind of like this. And then you'll see in a minute that we put some braces onto the bottom, which will give it a really aesthetically pleasing kind of angle to it. And make sure that you pop out all the parts here. There's even these little kind of slots here. They're kind of quite hard to see, but they're going to slot into these pieces here. Speaking of this bit, this has got some half cuts in it to allow you to bend this slightly. You don't want to bend this a lot. It's got a very, very gentle curve, but I don't want you to just take... We wanted to put cuts in here, otherwise it's quite a lot of pressure on the cardboard because we use a really high density cardboard. So what you're going to do is you're just going to just almost give it a little... It's almost like you're not even breaking the seal of the bend. Just very gentle like that. And that's it. That's all you're going to need. It might flex up a little bit or this way, but that's roughly within the registration, if you like, of where it needs to be. So the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to grab one side of the bridge, remembering the stamp side out, and we're just going to push these little slots here, the little tiny, through the side like that, and you'll see it'll start to bend this into shape. Then we're going to take the other side and we're going to do exactly the same through the little slots. And so you end up with this. Now, before we do anything else, to make sure that this doesn't fall apart when we're trying to put the braces on the bottom, you're going to take these two pieces here, and these are going to slot in to either end to make sure that these don't come out sideways. It's going to hold this in place. So starting with this one, we're going to pop that on here. And then on the other side. And then these actually form a flat area that's going to be level with most of your terrain for your characters to, or if you like, for where the bridge starts. So this is just this bit, and this is kind of where it finishes. You'll see later on the bridge is designed to just rest across places and be nice and sturdy. So last thing we want to do now is give it this nice kind of aesthetic kind of angle to it. And you're going to see that on the bottom of here, you've got two little slots, one here and one here, and these slots are at an angle. So you're going to line this up, and as you push this in, it's going to drag the top bits open like that. So it's now got that angle, and we'll do the same on the other side. Oops. Now the slot on this side is actually between two vines, like so. There you go. And now you've got those in the bottom. You have this nice angle to the bridge as well. Makes it a little bit more realistic. Okay, cool. So that's the bridge. That is amazing. Okay, so then we're going to take this here. This is the smaller bridge, and it's assembled in the same way, really, except for we haven't got, you know, a whole load of bridge to put on either side. So again, finding the stamp side, facing out. Now with this one as well, I'm going to add a lot more of a bend to it because this really is broken. So I kind of want this hanging down like this. So I'm going to pop it into the slots either side like so. I'm going to hold it in place with my fingers, and then I'm going to stick this in here so that this then replaces my fingers. And then last of all, we just need to create that little bend again between two vines here, and then this one's a slot. I'm going to pop that in there. Okay, like so. And there you go. You've got this nice kind of shape to it as well. I really like those. They're, you know, when you get these put on your dungeon, they're going to really kind of bring it to life and make it pop. So pop those to one side. So we're really left with these 3 sheets now. And yeah, these 3 sheets have got a lot of scatter on it. Some of this scatter, if you've got the Maladam core set, some of this scatter, a lot of the scatter in fact, things like we've got some tombs on here and some bookcases, not in Maladam core set, but if you've done our terrain before, you would have seen similar bookcases. We've then got these crates and these chests, these cog levers, a few other things from some of our other sets like a fireplace, and so if you know, and the little table here, I believe these are in the Maladam core set as well. So if you've assembled that, a lot of these things you would have already know how to assemble. And then on here, the Dungeon Accessories 2 sheet, which we might as well start with. We've got a couple of unique things. If you've got Maladam, you will have one of these wells already, I believe. And then we've got some more ruined walls. And then this piece here, this quite big centerpiece, which is unique to the dungeon. So I'm going to pop off all the pieces of this sheet first. Okay, so that's all done. And what I've got is I've got some rubbish. Then I've got these 2 bits here. We've got, this is a platform. This is really only has one main use, but it's an awesome use. And that is when you build a big pillar out of this, which you'll see later. This sits on top. And then these ruined wall pieces here with the bits of wood sticking up, they're designed very specifically to work on the top of this. So you get this kind of big pillar with this kind of ruined part at the top. Now, they can also be, and because of that actually, the slots on the bottom line up in a very specific way, different from other walls. These slots, on the other hand, are just at the same height as all other walls. So you can always use these to add that kind of, you know, ruined wall pieces if you're not building this pillar. So that's really, really cool. So I'll pop that. So I'm going to put that with these here onto here. Oh, look, there's a little tiny bit there. I always miss a little bit. Boop. Okay. I've got some kindling, which I'm going to put over in my little bag of stuff. And then I've got a ladder. Not much to say here, it's just a ladder. This particular type of ladder has a little slot at the top, which means that you can put a little L-clip on there to make sure it stays in place, or it could just be leant up against walls wherever needed. What have we got? Let's handle the well first. The well's really easy. We've got the side of the well here with some half cuts through it. So I'm going to bend these through. I'm not going to over bend it. I don't really want it to meet yet because I want some tension on it. Oops, like that. Okay. That'll make this nice little circle like that. And then I have this, which you'll see has got a very basic kind of, it's not just a complete circle. If you run your finger, you can feel it's kind of lots of little straights which line up with this. So I'll place that on the top of here, making sure that the stamp side is facing up. So you've got this nice curve down. And then I'm just going to locate this inside, and I might be able to get it into both of them at the same time. And by doing that, I'm putting it so that it's, when I put it in, I do it kind of like this, and then I'm going to, once it's in, so it's a lot smaller, once it's in, I'm going to bring my hand inside here and kind of pop and kind of force it, almost pop it into place. So I'm going to put that inside like this, and then I'm going to bring it out like that. There you go, and that will hold that in place like this. Then you've got this here, which is a little insert, and you can have it either with water in it, or you can have just like the dark well, so it goes all the way down. And when you put that in here, like so, oops, is that in? It's in. When you push that into the bottom, and it's a tight fit, that then pushes outwards while this is pushing in, and the whole thing, you know, is pretty secure. So what we'll do here is I would then, once that's all in place, if I do this, I would then add a little bit of the glue just onto here, so that that piece doesn't come out like that. And then I would also add just a little bit, touching the raised part of this in here, being careful not to get the counter that I put on the inside. And I really should use this, shouldn't I? And then we're going to pop that back inside there, like so. That is now locked into place. And there you have your well, and then you can reverse this, sometimes have it water, or sometimes have this kind of just going into bottomless of your dungeon. Okay, so we've got that well, that's really cool, put that over there. Then, let's keep this handy. We've got this piece of machinery, which consists of a base, and then, make sure that's the right shape, then kind of some raised detailing that fits over the top, and this is a bit like the well, is going to create this double thickness for things to slot into. And then with this base here like this, you've got a little lever that fits in this small slot here, which has got two sides to it. We're going to create kind of the big kind of wheel, a bit like in Indiana Jones Temple of Doom, where they're lowering the lovely lady into the fiery pit, this big kind of wooden wheel that's going to go over the top of here. This is going to fit in here, and here's all the handles that you hold on to. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to glue anything yet, I'm just going to assemble it to make sure it all works. So you've got this little piece here, we've got 3 slots in it. Okay, what's going to happen is this is going to go into the middle slot, like so. And then these two with the stamp sides facing out, so that it looks, you've got more of a different pattern. The rope's not just all in the same place. You're going to put this in the other slot on the other side, and this onto this side, like so. And it's kind of wobbly at the moment, but what we're going to do is we're then going to, on the inside piece, which has got a load of slots in it, we're going to start slotting these in. Now, with these, we do have, most of these are the same, with the exception of one. One of them has got is slightly shorter, so it's this one here. Just line these up. Slightly shorter slot on it. This one we're going to put in first, and it's going to go right into the middle. And it needs to be that shorter one because it's the only way that it's going to fit, because of this little piece here is kind of in the way. Then the rest of them you can put in. So I'm going to put one in one side. Yeah. Okay, now you have this cool kind of wheel shape, which I guess is a big wheel. Some of it's going underground, turning some very important machinery. And what will actually happen is you'll see on here that we've got one slot that is slightly longer than the other, and that will line up with this area here, which is longer. So we know this is going to go in this way, kind of like that. But we also know that this here is going to be on there as well. So we're going to pop that off we're going to put this over the top, which has got the same long slots. Now we've got a lot more space for this all to push into, and that sits in there very nicely. Then for this lever's going to go into here basically, okay, and we've got, again, stamp side facing out. We've got one that goes on this side and one that goes on this side, and then this will push into here like so. Oops. And last but not least, we've also got this bit of detail in here. You'll see that there's kind of a grey stone circle here. This piece goes on here and we'll just glue in on there like that. So what I'm going to do is, now that I'm happy it's all assembled, I'm going to add some glue to the two base pieces, and then I'm going to just drop this in, and I'm going to add some glue to this and drop this in as well, and just make sure the whole thing's sturdy. So that base is on there nicely. I might as well just drop this in while I'm here, like so, and then I'll just pop a bit of glue either side of these and then pop that in there. And there you go, that's all done. That's really nice. I didn't bother gluing all these little bits and pieces, you know, all the handles and everything in there. I'm quite happy with that as it is. It's going to be fine. You can, of course, you know, really go to town and take your time and glue everything together when you're happy. But that's all that will need. So I'll put that off over here. So that just leaves us with these two sheets. So what I'm going to do, both these sheets are identical, so I'm going to just take off one item from each of the sheets. So I'll just do one sheet and show you how those particular items go together, and of course you will then be able to just repeat it twice. So I'm going to pop this one out into its particular parts, and I think this is the one place where you want to, you know, take extra care to make sure that the things that are labelled bookcase go with the things that are labelled bookcase, and the thing that says crate go with the crate. So what you could do for the crate, for example, everything that's labelled crate, you could maybe pop those pieces out first. In this case, those items, keep them together, assemble the crate. Then once you've done the crate, you could take the crate from the other sheet and do it on that side as well, and then move on to the bookcase and do it that way if you want to do it. So yeah, maybe we should do it that way. So let's start with the crate then. Okay, the crate's pretty simple. If you've assembled our stuff before, our other sets, it's almost identical in every way. So we've basically got some up and down slots. We've got the blue texture going inside. You're just going to slot those pieces together like so. And this creates the main part of your crate. And then, you know, where it kind of chamfers off at the top, that's the top. Leaving a little bit of wood along the inside edge where the blue is. Then you've got two textures here. One is blue on one side and then crate on the bottom. So what we're going to do here, we're just going to pinch this in a little bit. We're going to grab that with the blue side facing up. I'm going to drop that in and then push that in, and that goes in there. And like I say, if you pinch the side in a little bit, this will stay exactly where it is. We're going to glue this anyway, but it just doesn't necessarily need the glue. And then this piece here is the lid, which is fine. Then you've got this little piece here that if you if we turn, so the lid wants to be stamped side up, so it's nice and rounded in with the crate. When I turn that, we then want stamped side up for this as well, the curve. And we'll place that exactly in the middle of that, and we can glue that on, and that'll act as a kind of a catch for this. So I'm gonna just quickly show you what I mean. So that is now on the inside here. I'm just going to let that dry for a moment and show you what you can do with this base. If we pop the base back out again, we can just run a little bit of glue along the bottom here on the inside, just on that very inside edge. Okay. And then we'll do exactly the same as what we did before. Blue side standing up, push that, let the pressure of that push into place. And then don't leave your crate there because there'll be a little bit of glue probably on the bottom. So then you can turn the crate upside down and just let that dry. And this is now dry underneath, and when I put this lid on, that now clips into place, and you've got this cool little crate which you can hide things in, and it'll snap back into place every time. Okay, so that's the crate. There's 2 of those, 1 on each sheet. I think what we'll do now is we'll then assemble this chest here, because it's almost identical, except for it's got like a hinged lid. So we're going to pop all the bits for the chest off. And that was that. Okay, so like the crate, we've got the 4 sides, but one of the sides has got a lid connected to it. So if we bend that here, you can see that will become the lid. And then we've got the 4 sides. So 2 short sides go either side of the lid. And then we've got the other long side, which goes in front like so. And that sits on there. And you can see, there you go. What we need to do is we need to put the bottom of this in. You'll notice you've got 2 types. You've got one with the internal texture, which is kind of a beige cloth texture. That's going to go inside the lid. And then you've got this base piece, of which you want the beige bit facing up when it's put in, so that you've got a nice wooden texture at the bottom. But before we put the base in, what we want to do is we want to be able to put this underneath here, so that it helps to close this. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to pop a little bit of glue onto here. Like so. Then we're going to close this down. Glue's only in the middle, so this won't get glued on. And making sure we've got the rounded bit facing up as we're pushing this in, we're going to drop this in just like we did with the base, and we're going to push it firmly onto the underside of the lid. So I'm going to drop that in and do that like so. I'm going to hold it there for a second. And then keeping the pressure on, I'm just going to lift this up so that we make sure everything stays in place. And that should then be in the right place. We're not going to touch that for a second. We're going to kind of let that dry a little bit. Yeah, that looks like that's working. And then what we're going to do is this base will then just go in there as normal. So again, you could just squeeze these bits in together and drop it in like so, and it'll stay there under pressure. Or, of course, we're going to glue that in so that it's got a more permanently put in place. And there you go. That's your little base inside, and your lid, which now clips closed and open. So you can pop things in there, clip it down and keep it closed. So you've got these 2 items assembled in very similar ways. Again, assembling in a very similar way is this tomb. I love this tomb. So we're going to pop this off now. Okay. So with the tomb, we've got a large base, which we're going to ignore for the moment. And then we've got a kind of a small piece which is going to sit on the base, which is what would normally be the base of this kind of design. But we're not going to glue that on yet. We're going to line everything up. Then just like your chest and your crate, you've got sides and a front. So we'll just pop those on quickly. And with here, you'll notice the outside of the tomb's got nice sort of filigree patterns on it, and the inside has got some scratches on it and is a bit more rough. So making sure that the inside's texture's around the right way, which also means that the stamp side's facing out, which is always beneficial for these kind of things. Okay, then unlike these sets where you put a little piece underneath the lid to hold everything in place, this one, the lid is held in place by these high pieces here, so it doesn't need anything. And so what we've done, we've got this extra little piece here, which will then glue on top, which gives these a really nice kind of 3D look. So while that's in place, I'm going to do that now. You might actually want to apply that to the underside of this. I just happen to know the length that this is. And again, stamp side facing up, so you get this nice round texture, so it looks like it's molded and part of the lid. Drop that on there. In fact, I'm going to take this off and bring it a bit closer to me rather than the camera so I can line it up nicely. I think that's pretty good. Hold that there for a second. Okay, and that's done. So that creates the lid. Now what we're going to do is, really what we want to do is have this kind of on here, so it looks really, really cool. Rather than stick this on and hope it lines up, what we're going to do, a bit like this, we're going to pop this in here, and we're going to squeeze this in a little bit, pop this in here, having the stamp side facing up again, so this nice curve. We'll pop this in and push it down till it's completely flat with the bottom. Then I'm going to very carefully, without putting pressure, I'm going to glue this like so. Now I am going to line this up. I'll put this lid on so that I can, oh no, I'm not actually. I'm going to line this up so that it is as kind of in the center as I possibly can. So I'm going to bring this closer to me a little bit so that I can do this properly. Okay. See, like this. Right in the center. I'm going to hold that there for a second just to make sure it's in, it's not moving around. Then I'm going to take a couple of fingers, pop it inside, add some pressure down to really make sure that I'm making a really nice connection between the adhesive and the card. And then I can lift that back off. And lastly, I will then, you can either apply a little bit to the inside like we did with the crates here, or you could actually just tack it on here, right on the edge of the piece that you've glued on. So, just get that around there. Now, same thing again, we can put this over the top and make sure it just goes exactly on like so. That's awesome. I really like these tins. When they're in the dungeon, they're really awesome. They had a really nice kind of feel to the dungeon. And the lid goes on like that. We can have it thematically off. Okay, and that creates the nice little tombs. And again, there's two of those. Okay, there's two of those on the sheet. So you can totally build the other one as well at the same time. Those items go together very, very similarly. Okay, so we'll now move those off to one side and focus on something else. So I think we'll choose the bookcase next, because the bookcase is bonkers. So you've got the wooden pieces here, and then you've also got a bunch of books specifically labelled for the bookcase. And you've also got some, you've got like some other books over here which just say book pile. This one says bookcase over here, so I'm going to take this off. I'm then going to take these off because they say bookcase as well. And then looking around the sheets, I've got book pile, and this is book pile as well. Have I got some open ones here? Yeah, I have. Okay, that's cool. So I'm then going to pop that to one side. I've got all the ones that are bookcase. The books off to one side for the moment. I've got two sides to this bookcase, and they are going to slot in like so, here and here. And again, I've done the stamp side facing outwards to make everything sort of curve in nicely. And you'll see here there's a little tab at the bottom, and this little tab is going to help you connect it into some walls when you set up your dungeon. This little tab is going to be able to go in here just so it helps to like locate it and keep it in place. You've then got your little shelves, and a bit like when we assembled the stairs, they're just going to push in here, and this is going to make this really cool looking bookcase. And you've got two of these, so this one I've got the little red detailing on the shelf here at the top, maybe on the other one put it a bit lower down so they look a little bit different. And then what will also make your two bookcases look different is what you do and what you put on them. So here we've got some little books. There's these ones here have got a little half cut in it, and then you've got some books here. And all you do is you make little piles of these books, and we'll glue some little piles together. And when we're happy, we'll have a few separate ones. When we're happy, we'll then glue them onto the shelves, add some detailing down the bottom by putting these here and one of these open books on the top. And that'll look really cool. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm just going to say, okay, I want this little pile here. This has got 3 books in it. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to have a blue book sitting at the top. Then I've got a pile of 2, which will have a red book sitting at the top. And I put all these stamp side up so that they've got this nice curve. Then we want something maybe with a yellow book, another pile of 2, but with a yellow book, and then we'll have this yellow book by itself. These to one side. I'm going to pop a little bit of glue on the bottom, so nothing on here, one here, one here, one here, one here, leaving the top books. Make sure you leave the top books with no glue on them, because we don't want anything to go on top of those. So I'm just going to add some little glue onto these. Boop. And then here, and then here, and with this one here as well. And then put them on top. Don't try too hard to line them up, because we want probably a little bit of a kind of a, this is an old kind of ruined dungeon, if you like. I guess they're all kind of ruined dungeons maybe. Like this, so I've got the books at a little angle. And so you get these little piles of books. Then you've got these 2 here. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to decide where I want these and just put them into here. And I could just drop them in. There's a couple of ways to do it. I could, for example, decide I want those little books at the bottom there, and I could just drop my little thing in here, put a little blob of glue on the shelf, and then I can grab the books, drop them in, and have them in nicely like that. Make sure the shelves are pushed in properly. You can always glue the shelves on if you're going to do it this way, and that'll sit quite nicely. Another way you could do it, if I wanted the next books over on this side, is you could take a shelf out, and so let's say we're going to have the red ones over there. Take the shelf out so it's easier to get to. Pop a little blob on here. If you're going to do this, make sure that you don't overlap a book over the back of here, because then you won't be able to put the shelf in properly. So I'm going to do this one, and I'm not going to put anything that's going to get into the way of this slot here. When I'm happy with that, I can just push that back in there and maybe glue it in place if I wanted to. Then I think we'll have a yellow book here. So I'm gonna go with a lazy method. I'm gonna put a yellow book here, and I'm gonna put another yellow book off to that side at the top. Okay, so we'll have a pile of books on the top piece, I think. And then we'll just have the one book in there. And so I've got these books in. Then I'll take this book here, and I want to have this one kind of half opened and sort of hanging on this piece here. So I'm going to do this like that. I'm going to put a little blob here, but I'm also going to put a little blob on here to hold the side of the case, side of the cover, I guess, down. So pop that here, like so. Like with that. And then lastly, I always like to have one that's kind of here at the bottom, like it's just fallen off the shelf, in which case I will add some glue to this little piece at the bottom. And then I'm going to run the book up to it, like so. And there you go. You've got this little bookcase, which will add, you know, like I say, it will slot into a little wall and start adding some real kind of atmosphere to your dungeon, as it were. So there's that little bookcase. I'll pop that off to one side. What do we got next? Okay, next we'll do something simple. We'll do the little table. So let's pop out the table. And actually, what we've also got with the table, there's not many parts of the table itself, but we've also got these little pots here. And you'll see there's quite a few of them around. So I'm going to pop out actually all of these little ornaments, they're called. Pop those out like so. And I think I'm going to save one for the fireplace, maybe this yellow one. Then I'm going to have maybe these two. Then I'm going to have, I think I'm going to save an orange one for the fireplace. Then I'm going to have two, yeah, one each, yeah. I'm going to put a yellow one off to the side and a kind of orangey one. I'm going to have two different ones for the table. And then I've got these tiny little ones as well. There's also an ornament of a map. This is pretty cool. So I'm going to pop this down here. That'll look great on the table. So first of all, I'm going to assemble the table. You'll see on here that you've got two different types of legs. One's got a much bigger arch in the bottom. This one is going to go into the small slot underneath your table. And then this one is going to go into the large slot underneath the table. Like so. And then very simply, you just place this over the top, and you've got two different textures here. You've got one that's really messed up and dirty, one that's different. So you could assemble one this way and then you have the other table the other way around, so you've got some variety. Put that on top there, and that's your table. That doesn't really require any glue, but you totally can. This one's got a little hook on it so that you can have it sitting inside your dungeon so it doesn't move around a bit any. And then I'm going to add some detail to the top of this by putting things on it. So I think we'll stick a map on there, like so. Have that sort of just hanging off the table a little bit. Then I think we'll have someone put there. We'll have an orange pot here. And with these little pots, you'll notice there's a different texture on the stamp side. They're rounded this way. Normally we'd stamp that down, but we kind of want a bowl shape, so we'll turn it up this way. You can see there's an extra texture for the inside of the bowl, so it actually looks like they're sitting off the table a little bit. And I think this yellow one we will pop on top of the map because these guys are just messy, like so. And then I think we'll have the other little yellow one just sitting here. Oh, I'm being impatient with my glue. Plus my glue's starting to dry because I've been using it loads, opening and closing it. So, and then you have this little table that's all cluttered up with junk and the little candle on it and stuff. I'm going to put that to one side. Then I'm going to take the orange one here and this other little one here, and I'm going to jump back to my bookcase because you can also then add a little bit more scatter to your bookcase. So I can just, let's pop that one out. I could just add like a little dot here where someone's had like a pan or a pot or something. Pop it on there. Like so, and then maybe on the top cover up a bit of that yellow, and we'll put, oops, we'll put one of those on the top here. Oh dear, where did that go? It went on my shelf. Okay, it must not want it to go on that particular bit, but too late. And again, that just adds even more detail to that bookcase. Pop that back over here. And I've still got this left over, and the reason I've got it left over is we're going to make the fireplace next. So that's it, that's cool. Let's pop that out. There's a piece of stonework in there. There's like a little half bend in here. And then stamp side facing out, really simply you're going to slot these into here, but you've also got this little half cut here. And so what's going to happen is you're going to slot this in the side here, but then this piece here is actually going to slot into here like so, and we'll do the same on the other side. Awesome. And again, you can glue those in if you like. Mine are pretty tight, so that's kind of cool. And then you've got this little recess inside here where these little slots will fit into this part here. So I'm going to pop those in. And again, you can glue this in if you like. That's a pretty tight fit for me, which is really cool. And lastly, on the little mantelpiece, again, to add a little bit of texture and a little bit of, I'm going to add this little pot onto here, one of the sides. And you've got this little pot that we've just got hanging off of there. Okay, so that's the cool little fireplace. I'll put that to one side. Not a lot left on this sheet now. Let's handle the weapons rack. So for the weapons rack, we'll pop off all the bits that say weapon rack, like here, and that includes these little swords. And remember, you have got some extras of these in your set anyway. We've got some from over here if you wanted to swap out and have one with just all of these like lances or spears, or you can just assemble it as I've got it on this sheet with kind of a mix of a couple of things. Okay, so on here we've got a little half cut which we're going to bend through, and then stamp side out with these bits here facing forward where this kind of serrated edge, if you like. You're going to put one in one side with a slot at the bottom. Don't worry if it comes in a bit like that. This piece here is going to brace it back out. And over here, and like the bookcase, one of these has got like a little nodge on it, a little tab, I guess, nodule, that's going to slot into the walls. And then this piece here is going to go into the two slots at the top and kind of brace the whole thing. And there you go, there's your weapon rack, devoid of weapons. Then what you're going to do is you're just going to basically glue whichever weapons you want onto here, you know, so that you can have it, you know, however you like it. You can choose which weapons that you want, etc. I've got some, like I said, I've got some more swords over here if you wanted just an order sword rack, but I'm going to pop those on here. When gluing the weapons on, just make sure you hold this level so that you don't glue them on like this and then go, oh dear, I've glued it down too far, now it won't stand up. So I'm literally going to just add some glue to the various parts of these weapons and place them in place depending on their shape. So that's a spear. So that's the spear, which goes all the way to the ground. Then I think the hammer, should we do the hammer like this? Would that look cool? I don't know. I think I normally do it the other way around, but just because I normally do it that way around doesn't mean I should now. So I'll just press this in here. And then I'm going to put the two swords just hanging here. So I'm just going to want a little bit of double glue at the top of this. Okay, that needs to dry a little bit, but you can see that I've got my weapons in there. And again, there's 2 of those, so you could mix it up a bit with some of your other weapons that you've got over here in the sets. I'll put that to one side. Okay, I'm going to pop off. There's 2 chairs here. I really should stop saying pop off. Okay, so there we go. Let's take those off the sheets. So I've got one kind of grand, what do we call it? Yeah, we do call it a grand chair. And then we've got a smaller chair here, over which the seat is located up there. Okay, so starting with this much simpler seat, we've got a little cross piece that goes across here, and that will fit across there like that. And then you've got this little piece which you can pop underneath, and that creates this really cool little chair which can go then with your table when you set your dungeon up. And then over here we have got the grand chair, of which you've got like an inside and an outside. So all of the red areas, if you like, the cushioned areas, go inside. So we're going to assemble the seat across here like that first. So we've got nothing on the outside but the cushiony, red cushiony stuff on the inside. And then again, taking the red from the inside, you've got these little side tabs sticking out. So you'll put one on here to create that side of the chair, and then you'll do the same on the other side to create this side of the chair, like so. And what I would do with these, I'd add a little bit of glue so that we can hold them together just on the sides, and that'll hold the back of the chair in anyway. There you go. I need a little bit of time for that one to dry, but that's my little chair, so I'm going to pop that off to one side to dry it. So what have we got left? Stay. We got 2 things left. Okay, so first I'm going to pop off this cog lever because this is really basic. 2 parts there. Some little intricate bits to pop out of here around the rope and the cog area. Give it that nice 3D effect. And then you'll see that we've got 2 bits to slot together. There's a rope texture on one side of the wall, but not the other, around the cock here. So we want the rope texture here to line up with that. Let's pop that down. Zoop. And then you've got this really cool little lever, as it were. Again, that will slot into the bottom of the wall, so that you can, or in fact it slots across the top of the wall and in the bottom, and becomes this kind of area that you're going to go to pull a lever, activate a thing in a dungeon, open a door somewhere else or something like that. So I'll pop that off to here. That's one of those. Get rid of these bits. So lastly then, we have the book pile. The book pile consists of a base and then a whole bunch of books. And you can decide how you want to pile these on here. What I like to do is I like to have one of them with just a simply a big pile of books. A bit like the bookcase, we're going to line them up and we're going to create some piles to put on. And then on another one, because you've got 2 of these sheets, I would then create a pile of books and maybe like stand a sword up against the books. I think that looks really cool. So maybe we'll do that now. So the first thing I'm going to want to do is make a nice pile of books. I'm going to choose some colours. I've got some big books and I've got these little small books. So it's the big books that I really want to make the pile out of. What sort of cool colour should we have at the top? Just really, maybe I'll leave the orangey ones at the top. So I think a nice big pile of books like that, and then we'll have these little blue ones, maybe at the bottom, at the front, and have this kind of off to off to one side. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to turn this into a pile of books. So I'm going to glue all of these books, except for the very top one, of course. I'll do that now. Remembering to leave your books kind of higgledy-piggledy shaped. I've then already put some glue on the base here, and I'm going to leave this off to one side a bit so that I've got some room to put the sword and the book. Then I think I'll grab a cool sword from over here. And I think what I'll do is I'll glue the sword kind of resting up against the books like that. Then I think I've got enough room to maybe put these books here and maybe have this one off to one side here, or I could even place this book here and have the other books on top. I'll see what looks cool and what fits. So I'll glue those bits on now. Okay, so in the end I decided that it would look cool just to have these blue books up here rather than tucked behind the sword. That's how I've done that one. And again, you've got another one there. You can have like a lower pile of books, or you could save a couple of your little pots. Instead of putting a pot on the next fireplace, put a little pot on here as well. That would be really, really cool. Okay, so that's it. We've assembled all the bits and pieces that we've got to get together. I've got big piles of walls and things. You can see there's loads of stuff here. I tend to put elastic band around things like this to keep the different types of walls together. For example, you could just do that. And all these big pieces like this and the bridge will all kind of just be kept together. And then I pack it into a box, and this is not even all of it because I still haven't put all of this together, so you're going to get much, much more scatter. I then tend to just keep it in a box like this. This is just a very simple box. I keep some of my scatter on top, and all the other bits and pieces I'll just leave basically in here. And then that's a dungeon. Stick it on the shelf, ready to go whenever I need it. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to actually put this together with the game mat and have a go at building a dungeon. And here it is. It's all finished. And I'm really happy with how this turned out. Now, I had a particular vision of exactly what this was going to look like. But you'll see, we're going to have a look. You're going to build along with me. This really is an organic process. So, you know, the purpose of this video is not to show you how to build this. It's more to show you how I approach building, and then you can go away and build whatever you like. This is not how you build the dungeon. This is just one way that you can build the dungeon. So let's pop over and watch me very carefully and slowly for you guys put this all together. Okay, so I've got my game mat set up here. As you can see, I've surrounded myself with all the walls in their different sizes, and I've got over here, some of it's coming off camera here, I've got lots of scatter, which we're going to fill the dungeon up at the end. I've got a nice little pot here of clips that I can just dip into as and when I need them, which is going to be a lot. And so I've got my struts and all my other bits and pieces, my ruined walls. And so what I'm going to do is really, I'm going to just start thinking about what a dungeon might look like, how it might come together. And I've built a lot of these dungeons before, and so really you've got to think about this as like Lego. You can just make it up as you go along and just have fun kind of creating the dungeon that is suitable for your scenario. I'm going to build this dungeon up reasonably high. You could probably go higher. Just so that you can get to see how it works from a multi-level point of view. I may change it halfway through or move things around, or I need a different type of clip here, so I move it over to there, and so on and so forth. But you can just, you know, bring this much lower down, just have one extra level, or have no levels and do a single level dungeon, which you could put together in 10 minutes, no problem at all. But for this, I'm gonna, try and give you a really good build. and just kind of feel it out. And so generally when I'm starting, I tend to pick a side. So I'm going to leave this side kind of open, and I'm going to build this side up and let the dungeon kind of cascade down towards here. This makes it very easy for getting in and playing, so that you can kind of get your hands in and around and move things around. And also it's great for the camera because, you know, I can build out this way. So I'm going to start by thinking about what's happening here. I'm going to try to create a shape here, so I've got a bit of a room, and I'm going to build some volume at the back. And in order to do that, I think I'll take a couple of standard walls. Okay, so, and I'm just going to create a shape at the back. And so I'm going to place this about here, might end up being here or here, and I've got the start. So this is going to form this will go right at the back here. This is going to form the very back of the wall. This will kind of come up high and kind of come down here with the ruined parts. This is going to come this way and then across here. And I've just used some right angle clips here and a straight clip to push this on. Remember, you need to watch that Essential Quickstart guide to get an idea of what's going on. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to follow this along here, and instead of using just an L clip here, I've used these little Y clips here because I already think I'm going to end up, you know, be putting some things here. I feel like there's a walkway across here, and I can put these. It'll look really stunning coming out from the bottom. So I'm just going to carry on building out a little bit, see what happens. And in fact, I've already decided that I'm going to make this into the large pillar shape as well. So I'm going to pop that together quickly. Okay, and I'm going to clip this into here, which is why I've used T-clips at the back so I can carry this along, and then some L clips here. I might put one of these on here, I'm not sure, in which case I'll swap these clips out, but we'll see. This will make a nice base as well for putting a walkway across. While I'm here, I will show you how the top of this works. Although I don't think I'm going to use it in this particular build, there's a very large, long slot here, which you can put an L clip into. And it just sort of you have to jiggle it around a little bit and it's in. And that allows that to fit on top of here to make this platform. This is really good when it comes to, you know, just having something for this bridge to come to, which is really kind of very cool indeed. And then you've got these two pieces here, of which you will connect together with an L clip like this. And then you'll see there's a pattern across the back here, which is kind of a cool little pattern there, which you can line this up with. And in this case, we would line it up here like that. And we'll pop that little L clip on the bottom of there. And one of these slots on the top lines up with a slot on the top with a little divot in it, and that'll give you room to slide this in here like so, and that creates that kind of top of a ruined pillar. And again, like I say, once you've then got this on here, this is going to make a really nice kind of feature, and you might have some stairs that run down from here and walk down. I'm not going to use those because I'm going to use the top of this as this nice platform, as I said before, which is going to help me add some volume to the back of the wall there. So I'll just take these off, return my clips to my little stash, and then I'll work my way back into my build. And I'm going to connect this onto the back of here like so. And then I'm going to carry on building. And then adding these stairs in here, I feel like this is going to be kind of an area that I'm going to create this tower here. Like this will end up slotting into here. And so I'm going to build this kind of ruined tower bit, which is kind of cool because I use this in a lot of my builds. So I can show you how to build that. Let's grab the parts. Okay. So with this build, I tend to start, what we're going to be using, we're going to be using quite a lot of these clips here. They're kind of like the Y clip, except for the top is much more, this one we're going to use, the top is much more spread out. So the 135 degree angle here with this coming up perpendicular from that. Not sure that's the right word, but yeah. So we're going to be using a lot of those. So I'm going to grab a big bunch of those. So I've got a bunch to start. And at first I'm going to, using the widest, that top part of the Y, I'm going to kind of build out the bottom of this wall into a couple of sections here. Like this. And then this will actually connect onto the back here to start to create this shape here. But we're not going to kind of put it over there yet. What we want to do is we want to kind of start building up the levels of this. So you're going to get these little strut pieces here. Make sure you've got these pieces that we can put in here. And then I want to think about the walls that I'm putting on top. So I would say that I would probably want to have some damaged bits, maybe this piece here, and maybe one of those, and then maybe one like that to come across the top here. And so using those same clips again that we used before, I'm going to connect those together. And then I'm going to think about where this is going to go. There's a slot on here which is going to pop into these steps here. So I think I'm probably going to kind of connect this here. So I need to think about connecting this to here, but also to here. So I'm going to want some T-clips like this, making sure that I've got the slots on the bottom to connect it to, maybe one like this and one like this, so that I could kind of put these on. But also in here, I've got a couple of slots that I'm going to run these into. It gives this nice kind of beam work inside once this is put together. Just got a little bit of card in that piece. I'm going to pop that out. Whee! I think that went over there. Call it dungeon scatter. Into here like that. And then I need to think about, so if I push these clips in too far, I don't want to push them in too far because I want this to kind of sit inside the building. And I'm going to stick that on here and on here. And then I'm going to think, well, do I want to have like a ridge along the outside here at the back? If I do, I'm going to be like, okay, well, why don't I make this one an X clip so that I can then add this onto the back to have this nice little ridge at the back. And then we can push this one down. We can drop this all the way into here. And now I'm ready to be able to connect this one onto the top. Like that. And this then will slot into here. Like so. And I can start building that up. And I'm not sure, I may put another level on that as well and build some more walls up. Depending on how high it goes here versus here. I always like this really high part of the dungeon in the corner, but we'll see. Okay, so Once I've got to this stage, I'm just going to carry on building this out, see what happens. So now I'm just filling in this gap here using some basic 135-degree clips. That's pretty cool. I could also, if I wanted to, add a little straight clip here if I wanted this to be a bit more sturdy. I think it's pretty sturdy already. You don't always have to clip everything in every location. The more clips you use, the more sturdy the build's going to be. Okay, should build this side out a little bit. And I think if we're going to put something on here, I would say that we probably want something coming out here as well, would be pretty cool. So I could change this. So I'm going to nip this off of here, and I'm just going to swap these out, and I'm going to use some Y clips so I get a nice angle on this. So I'm going to undo that. Pop these L clips out and replace it with the Y clips, which has got the L clip part on it already, plus that bit that sticks out perpendicular from there. There's that word again, it's probably the wrong word. I don't know if it needs to come out perpendicular. Is that coming out of a flat? It has to be off of a parallel surface. I don't know. Nobody knows. Well, actually, most people probably know. Okay, yeah, I think that's going to be pretty cool. So I'm going to stick that here. Now I'll build some more around here, I guess. Let's bring in, this probably needs to come this way. Let's go that on a door, maybe. Oh. Okay, so I've pretty much covered the width of my table now, and this is starting to build up nicely. Yeah, and I think I'll put one of these on here, but I might wait for a bit depending what I'm going to do up here. Don't want that to get in the way. Yeah, I'm just going to carry on adding to this and building this bit up, and then I'll start heading my way down here. Okay. So I've put my first bit of ruins in here as well, which is nice. This is starting to really kind of break this up and make it look cool dungeony, rather than just these, you know, flat, square, rectangular shapes. And then I'm going to think about what I'm going to put across here as far as walkways are concerned. So I want to plan ahead and decide what I'm going to do. So I'm thinking maybe this is going to clip onto here, come around the back here. So I need to think about what walls I'm putting here. I've put a T-clip to connect onto here because I think I'm going to probably put this here and then build another piece around the front. That would be really cool. Maybe have the bridge coming over here. I might change my mind. And I'm going to pop some clips in here. I might need to change them depending on what walls I put in here. Okay, so I've decided where I'm going to put these. They're going to slot in here. I've kind of lined up so that when I slot things on top, I should, have I lined that up properly? I don't think I have. I think I need to line that up like this. There you go. So I'm going to need some more walls underneath here. Now this fits onto here, which then fits onto here, which will then line up and allow me to build around this way. But I'm just going to carry on building and see what happens. I might need to move some of these clips around. I'm going to build this section out here, and because this wall over here, it's difficult to see, but some of these walls are the doors on. They don't have areas to clip above the doors, otherwise this bit would be too weak. And so you have to clip on using these much smaller, not the central clip areas, but there's much smaller side pieces. And we have a very small L clip, which is designed specifically for that. So lining that up, I can see here that this is what we're going to utilize over here, and that'll allow me to clip this in without it to make sure it works properly. Okay, so I've fully committed over here now. Move these clips around because there wasn't a gap underneath, and I've used an L clip here instead of a T clip. We've got lots of support here anyway, and I think that's looking pretty good. So again, I'm going to just keep on building up. Again, I'm just thinking of what I'm doing here. It's getting quite high here, and I don't want to run out of walls by building too high. So this is probably going to be my high point, and I'm going to cascade this down here to match up with this. Just removed a little L clip from here because I ended up not needing it after making a change, because this wall isn't long enough to clip in. So that's cool. And I think we'll top that off with a little wall topper. Okay, that's really come together now. I've made a couple of changes. I've changed an L clip here for a T clip so I can have this nice strut detail, and another one here because I feel like I need these kind of archy bits on there to break up the flatness. And then I've basically added in some ruined walls now that this is a nice shape. Still flat here, but we'll fix that in a moment. And I've done the same here. I've done it down this side as well. And I've also changed this. I felt it a bit weird that they're both coming out at the same angle. Wanted one coming out this way and one coming out that way. I'm happy with that, and so I'm going to keep building. Okay, so what have I done now? I've put some little stone areas up here, these little these kind of very unique, they're not wall toppers, they just go here to cap this off. I'm going to leave this open because I feel like the bridge needs to come out here somewhere, or maybe this way. And I've used a wall topper actually to make another little barrier here because I couldn't get this one on here. I've then added some more height over here. I've topped the top of this off, and I'm just starting to build out some of this area here because I feel like I've got enough height at the back, so I'll just keep going and see what happens. Oh, I also put I've put one of the ruined walls, which are the very specific ones that go on the top of the pillar here. Now, because the slots on the bottom don't line up with the normal walls, when I slot this into this T-clip here, there's no clip to go here because it's too far across. But when you put that in, it holds that in place here, and so it looks pretty seamless. So I'm quite happy with that. I'm going to leave that like that, and then again, just carry on building. Okay, so now what I'm doing, I'm thinking about probably having a platform here, maybe the big stairs coming down here, and that's going to give me something to build my bridge, put my platform and a bridge on. I might need, I'll build that round here, I might need a bit more space coming this way. So I'm just going to add in one of these little walls. These are great for adding a bit more space. I'm just going to pop that onto this back wall here, extending that by 1/4 of its normal length, and then I'll put that in. Okay, makes this room a little bit bigger as well, so that's cool. I'll just keep building up and see what happens. And then probably something like this, maybe. Not sure. Let's get that onto. Probably just connect onto something like that. How's that even possible? Okay, I get that. And then there's that here a little bit. Like this, and maybe a little something like this. Something like this, I guess. Maybe a little top. That would be cool. Like this. Then we can put that here. Pretty cool. And that over there. Let's see. Probably like this. Okay, so I've made myself a little platform here. Oh, I don't know. Okay, there we go. Bridge sits really nicely across there, which is great, which means I'm gonna probably stick the stairs on here. So I've got two, I put X clips on here because I thought I'd build this out as walls, but actually wasn't sure for this side or this side, but I think you could clip that onto there like that. And now we've got these stairs coming up here, across the bridge, get access to this area. We'll stick some ladders over there and maybe a ladder over here. And then that's already coming together as a really nice build. I'm then thinking we want some room kind of structures over here. So I'm going to clip this on here with a couple of T-clips and build then another wall out here, and then I'll end this with a little ruined piece. I'm quite happy with that at the moment. We've got kind of a lot of cool action going on here. There's a nice big open space here. I'm going to bring this round. This corner needs a little something, so I'm going to build. I've got lots of walls left still, so I'm going to build some of this area out with some walls, and then the bridge is going to go across here, and then probably we can just fill it up with scatter. We need access to the top of here, so we can put a ladder there, or steps and a platform. Maybe some scaffolding can go in. We have got a platform actually. I'll have to show you in a second. There's a platform behind here, a wooden platform. So I think that we're going to need a ladder and some scaffolding there, so when your characters go through the other side, they've got a way to get down into that like secure area down there. But yeah, I think this is coming along quite nicely. I dropped some of my ladders down the back when I turned to Matt, so that's cool. Okay, so I'll carry on building this out and see what we can do. I feel like an archway here. We can got some things we can put in place for that. Yeah, maybe some sort of archway, which means that'll need to connect onto something, and we'll bring this round here so that it's either meets up or at least got a nice entry point. Would be great. So I'll crack on and do that. Okay, so I think I've got that right. I've managed to line this up really quite nicely. Little door here. Got this nice little archway here that's gonna, maybe this is where the adventure starts and you work your way up and round. I've created this high area over here that you can see, and these kind of meet up really rather nicely using a little wall spacer here. I wanted a little ledge here to just break this area up, so I've actually stole it from the back of there. So there's like a little, there's actually a little clip sticking out there now, which is fine. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. Just need to do something over here with the bits that I've got left over, and then we can just fill this dungeon up and bring it to life. So yeah, see what I can do over here. I've also started using a lot of these to kind of break up areas as well. I think I could put some here and on here. I'll just keep going until I've got something that I'm happy with. I'm just going to create a little platform for these smaller stairs here, using these two little smaller pieces of scaffolding, but the ones with the rails on it. And when you put these on, the little platform at the top's got two little tiny tabs on it that sit above this to give it some extra strength. And then I'm just going to use a couple of L clips to clip that onto there quickly. So that clips in there like that. I'm going to use that to, let's get this sitting straight again. Oops. I'm going to use that to sit over here. And then when I'm done, we'll pop a little ladder here like that. Well, I'll put it there, I'll leave it there for now. It might fall down a little bit, but once your dungeon's set and ready to go, I'll have it a bit more up like this. And then, and I think before we do the scatter, what I do need to do is get round to the back. So I'm going to spin this round so that we can have a look at the, we can have a look at what's going on this back end. I can just support that a little bit, and then we'll fill it out with scatter. So let's get this spun round. So as you can see at the back, we've got a few things going on. Firstly, we've got this platform here, nowhere for your adventurers to get down. So we'll put some scaffolding there and a big ladder. Once they come through these doors, they're going to need somewhere to go. I guess there's always potion of feather fall. Then I'm going to grab a whole bunch of these. Whenever we build this tower, these pieces are used to kind of add some kind of cool details to the back. So I'll put one on here, and then we'll add those through here like so. And if I wanted to, I could grab this here and replace it with the kind of wide top to Y clip, like this. I think we call this a star clip. We'll do this like that. And then if we wanted to, if we've got enough clips, 1, 2, 3, we could go through and we could do this all the way down here as well. I'll see if I can do that, because sometimes it's good to see if you can, I forgot a bit, see, even when it's already built, just get these clips in here. So let me see if I can make this work. If not, it still looks really cool. Okay, this is already looking a lot better around the back of here. So I'm really happy with how that's kind of worked out. And yeah, I just had to give everything a little bit of a push back together. And that's really, really cool. So the next thing we can do is put some railing on here, or some scaffolding. And I think what we'll do is we could probably use these ones here that have got the little top pieces. That's really cool. Health and safety first. And then once we've done that, we can grab a ladder and pop it maybe this side so it's actually on the gaming mat area. And we can clip that in place, or just lean it to like that. There's a little clip on the top if you wanted to do that. And I think then that way you can get access to this little back area. Maybe there could be some secret, you know, stash in the books or something here that needs to be got to. And, you know, the only way to get up to this area, to get to this room, is to get up through, you know, these doors. Maybe this door at the bottom is magically sealed, and so this is the only one you can do. But I don't know, that's all really cool. I'm going to clip those in. So a couple of L clips just here, and then a couple of L clips on the top will fit it into the top there. Yeah, that's really cool. And in fact, you know what? One L clip is more than enough to keep that in place. That's really sturdy. That's great. and we could just lean the ladder in there, but I will show you the little clip on here if you wanted to actually just clip it in, and now have a ladder in place so that your adventurers can get round. Okay, so we've got this very small area at the back sorted. I'm going to spin this whole thing back round, and the last thing I'm going to do is then kind of position it, make sure it has, because it's moved a bit on the mat, and then we'll fill it with scatter. Okay, so I've adjusted the camera a little bit up higher as well, so you get a little bit more of what's going on inside. So again, like I say, I'm just going to make sure this is all lined up. I want it lined up as best as possible on the squares. So if I was playing a really cool game like Maladum, then I would be able to kind of measure by squares. So we'll do that. I think that's pretty cool. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to think, okay, we need to get some cool stuff in here. And I'm just going to fill this up with various bits and pieces. I'll stand up. I might get in front of the camera a little bit, but I'm going to grab all the scatter from around here, and I'm just going to scatter it up, and then I'll place the bridge on top. Okay, so there you have it. I've just filled it up with scatter. I've got kind of a library kind of thing going on here with this large mechanical mechanism. I've added some levers here and here. Where did I put the other one? Up high. So maybe in order to get through these doors, your adventurers are forced to sort of take the higher levels to activate or deactivate the mechanism so they can get through the doors. I've added some pillars and some like sconces, and I've added, well, all of the scatter basically, crates and so on and so forth. I also found that I had some wall toppers left over, so I put one here to break up this flat edge, and I put another one over here, so they're all gone. I have got a little bit of cardboard left. I've really tried to use as much of the set as I possibly could. So I've got some scaffolding left, I've got some kind of stone frontage pieces left, couple of little quarter walls, I've got a vine left, and I've got this little set of stairs that I haven't really used but could easily, be put here to get access to this bit, but I'd much prefer to run and jump through here. So I don't know, maybe we'll pop that in here. Bits of broken rubble around this rubble and the bits of the bridge where it's broken. I've got quite a few sort of clips left, as it were. and I've still got some bags of rubble, and I've scattered some swords and things to find throughout the dungeon. I'll just put those to one side. So yeah, this is kind of the dungeon, you know, from using as many parts as you possibly can. Maybe I'll just, oh god, it's going to be terrible, but I'll grab the camera and just give you a little look around it very quickly. Let's see if we can make this work. And so there you go. My vocal's probably a bit loud now. You can see here, I've put various bits of scatter. It's kind of pretty cool. We've got like a little library area down here where I've filled up some bits and pieces. We've got the well over here. Here's the levers that I put up the top to activate various parts. Little room with a fireplace in it here. We've got the throne down in the center here. And then if we quickly go around the back, we've got this other little room here. I guess we could have put some scatter down there, something secret or special. But there we go. I'm really quite happy with that build.